Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video will contain spoilers for the 2024 film A Complete Unknown. This video may also include discussions and images related to sensitive subjects such as sex, violence, and drug use. If you choose to continue watching, you are accepting responsibility for that decision. Thank you, and please have a great day.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope the universe is treating you fairly, and I hope that 2025 is a much better year than 2024, and I hope and pray that your 2024 wasn't all that bad. But here we are. January 1st, 2025, Central Standard Time, America, Texas. So yeah, this video is going to be about the 2024 movie A Complete Unknown. That movie, it hit general theaters Christmas Day. It was released to the Dolby theaters on December 10th. And I think the reason for the split release, the general versus the Dolby theater, is because of the way the Oscars and Golden Globes and all that run. You have to it has to be released by a certain date. The movie is 141 minutes or 2 hours and 20 minutes. The movie was made between 60 and 70 million. It is still in theaters, and so the box office numbers aren't solid yet. They aren't concrete. At time of filming, I had checked, and right now it is about 43 million is what it's made so far since Christmas Day. So there's that. It was directed by James Mangold. He also did the Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash biopic, and it was based on the book Dylan Goes Electric by Elijah Wald. The producers for this movie are interesting. You have your standard, you have James Mangold, who's one of the producers, and you have a collection. You have Bob Bookman, Peter Jason, Alan Gassmer. You've seen their names as producers or co-producers or assistant producers on different movies. But the one that caught my eye was Timothy Chalamet, who plays Dylan in the movie, was also one of the producers. I thought that was interesting. I thought the movie stars Timothy Chalamet, Edward Norton, Eli Fanning, Monica Barbaro, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I went into this movie expecting great music and a so-so middle-of-the-road story. And I was surprised at the quality of this movie. The story that was told, it was a fantastic story. Admittedly, because there was so much going on in Dylan's life, the movie's not a complete biopic. It's not cradle to grave. It's 4 years in Dylan's life, from 61 to 65, and basically him coming to New York to the point he decides to go electric. There was so much going on in Dylan's life at that point that in order to make the movie an acceptable length to sit in a movie theater and watch, there was a whole ton of things that were time compressed. A lot of things that were compressed together that in the movie appear to happen at the same time or relatively close, that actually took place weeks or months apart. To be honest with you, they could have made the movie 20 hours long and still would have had to time crunch it. It was just, there's just that much going on in his life. I mean, Dylan's life at that point, some of the music, or almost all of the music that made Dylan, that made him the person that we know today, is that this was his formative years. This is when Dylan became Dylan, or I should say, Robert Zimmerman became Bob Dylan. Eli Fanning's character. Eli Fanning plays Dylan's girlfriend. And I don't know, I've read mixed things on this. Her name was changed from the actual her real world counterpart. I've read that Dylan did this because he didn't want to didn't want the celebrity or fan reaction. Didn't want the real life counterpart to be, swamped by the fandom or harassed or whatever. And I've also read that part of the divorce, when they got divorced, in 1977. They were actually married in 65 and divorced in 1977. And part of the divorce decree was that they weren't allowed to do any movies or anything like that she couldn't make anything using Bob Dylan's real name or names, or he couldn't do anything using her real name. And I don't know which one's true and which one is what it is. So yeah, it's in the movie, the name of Eli, I gotta learn talk, is, see if I find it real quick in my notes, is Susie Russo. you can look up Bob Dylan on Wikipedia if you want to know the real name. I'm not going to put it here. I'm not going to put it out in this video just because they didn't use her real name in the movie. Therefore, I'm not going to do it in this video. I'm not, for whatever reasons that were decided to change her name, I'm gonna kind of halfway YouTube respect that. Timothy Chalamet plays Dylan, and about 5 to 10 minutes into the movie, you forget it's Timothy Chalamet playing Bob Dylan, and you start to think that it was maybe like home movies or something. Chalamet nails it, but he also had the dark days of 2020 to research the role, because they were going to originally start filming this movie in summer of 2020, but we had everything that went on in 2020 that that YouTube does not like us talking about go on, and it was delayed. And Chalamet continued to practice singing, learning the guitar. He did 2 movies for Denis Villeneuve, which did some box office success. Then you had the actor strike. In total, Chalamet had close to 5, almost 6 years, between 5 and 6 years to research the part, to practice the singing, to watch videos of Dylan, how he moved, how, and he nails it. This is what happens when an actor has the time and the drive to do this. Alright, sorry about the interruption. Cats were knocking a bunch of stuff over. Had to go figure out what they were doing. No, as I was saying, this movie, and like I said, it covers like 1961 to 1965. It deals with him coming to fame, his friendship with Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie, Joan Baez, Johnny Cash. Something I found on, just as a side note, because the way Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan's relationships portrayed in the movie had me interested in it, so I did some research on it, and it seems that up until Cash's death, him and Dylan they weren't like super close friends, but they were pretty good friends. They got along, they saw each other periodically, hung out together and stuff like that. And that was something I did not know. I thought it was kind of interesting, thought it was kind of cool. Edward Norton as Pete Seeger is really well. Just a complete, just good. I mean, it's probably one of Norton's better performances. I can't remember why him and Disney parted on such rough terms, which pretty much for a long time, sank his career. Now kind of looping back to some of the stuff they time crushed on. The movie has Dylan meeting Woody Guthrie in the hospital. I forgot the name of the disease he has, but it renders him where he can't talk, he can't sing, and he's losing control of his manual dexterity. In reality, Dylan had met Guthrie beforehand. Mind you, it was only a few months beforehand, but he did meet Guthrie before he was hospitalized. The thing in the movie where it's inferred that Joan Baez and Bob Dylan's girlfriend at the time was out of town on doing an artist thing. And Dylan and Joan Baez hook up and have sex during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Like I said, the actual sex part is highly inferred. It's never shown, and it's never openly talked about in the movie. It's just through innuendo and the way they act around each other. That yes, in reality, Dylan did have an affair with Baez, and the affair did start during the Cuban Missile Crisis, but they didn't start having sex till well after that. It's just like I said at the beginning of the video, it's just things like that, because you have to make a movie that is long enough to incorporate it, but short enough not for people to get butt fatigue sitting in a theater seat. I mean, mind you, modern theaters are really, I think they have better chairs than what I have in my house. So the music like I said, the music for this is just off the charts. The singing, all the singing, Timothy Chalamet, Edward Norton, Monica Barbaro, I cannot talk today. Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash. All that singing was the actors. It was sung live to the camera. No dubbing, no editing tricks, nothing. This was, we will do takes till we get a take that we like, that sounds good, and they did. And they did. Edward Norton, who I would have never picked, would have never pegged as a singer. He's a pretty good actor. I liked him in a lot of his movies. And Chalamet, definitely not. After him doing the little Dune movies he did, I would have never pegged him for a singer. And the as close as Norton Barrow. As those three actors, as close as they sounded to their real life counterparts, is just awesome. I mean, even Boyd Holbrook is Cash. I mean, his singing's pretty spot on with Johnny Cash. So it was, and the songs they picked, mind you, Chalamet sings in the movie close to 40 songs. Or yeah, there's 40. Actually, it's kind of misleading. There are 40 songs throughout the movie, but what we get in the movie, the edited version, we get a verse, maybe two verses. In fact, every time they play like Rolling Stone or Blowing in the Wind, you get the first and part of the second verse. And it's just kind of implied that, and from what I've read, that was an editorial that when they filmed it, the actors sang the entire song. And they just edited it for time and for space and what have you, to get it down to 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's I imagine 40 songs. If we would have heard all 40 songs full length, the movie would have been much, much, much longer. So yeah, like I said, it's just one of those. This is one of those movies that's lightning in a bottle. I don't think you'll have another biopic for a long time coming that is at this level. I mean, I enjoyed the Johnny Cash Walk the Line. I enjoyed the Johnny Cash biopic that Mangold did. But this one is head and shoulders above that. And if you've seen Walk the Line, you know how good that is. That is saying a lot. Like I said, it's a great movie. I highly, highly recommend going and seeing it. I recommend highly just immersing yourself into it. Just let the movie go through you, and especially if you're Gen X. If you're Gen X, you grew up on Dylan. Mom and Dad listened to Dylan. You listened to Dylan. It was, Dylan is part of our DNA. Those of us in Gen X that real heavily and grew up in musical households where your parents listened to music, and mine did. You listen to Dylan, you listen to Baez, you listen to Joni Mitchell, you listen to all these great, The Who, The Doors, Stones, Beatles, and it's kind of in our musical DNA. And this movie just kind of, it checks off all the right boxes, and it not only does it check them off, it circles them and stars them and glitters them. It is a movie worth watching. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. And until next time, people, be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?